Absolute Batman, issue 5, Scott Snyder writing with Nick Dragota on the art. So, Batman had made that deal with Black Mask, with Sionis, and this issue kind of picks up with him coming to meet Sionis for his payment of said deal. And as he's on his way, like, Alfred's kind of monitoring the situation and watching it, and he's, you know, obviously it's his narration, of course, as it's always been in this book. And he talks about how he's like, oh, I think Bruce wants to almost like goad one of like the gang into like breaking the deal, so he gets to just go back to being Batman and beating him up. It's like he's begging for it almost. And I thought, yeah, that's interesting. I kind of like that. Obviously, the big thing here in the flashbacks is we're kind of like dealing with the aftermath of the zoo incident, the death of his father. And Bruce getting his shot for the bats, and obviously Leslie has that ridiculous like foreshadowing line. Well, you know, this will be the end of you and bats. There'll be no more with you and bats. You don't have to worry about bats ever again. But the main thing being that Jim Gordon comes to him at his dad's funeral and says, "Hey, I wanted to let you know, Bruce, that they're going to tear down the zoo, so you'll never have to see it. You'll never have to be reminded of what happened." And later on, when it comes back to the flashback, he's like, no, I don't want it to be torn down. I want it to be a symbol of something. I want it to shine. And they kind of reference in the present day story when we see Martha and Gordon that every year like the zoo light gets turned on, but it's not getting turned on this year for whatever reason, because all the bad things have been happening.
Because the party crashers. Yeah.
So it kind of like, so as soon as they said like the light, I'm like, well, wait a minute, we have not had a bat signal yet. I feel like we're going somewhere with this. So yeah, the whole conceit of this issue basically is Batman waits for Sionis on this rooftop. Alfred's watching in the distance, and Sionis comes out and says, "All right, let's make you rich." And he's like, "I sent you the $200 million this morning," and Bruce is like, "I know, I already used it for something." Which impresses Black Mask. He's like, what did you use it for? And it turns out what Batman did, and we get a big full page reveal after some build up, is that he went to this big light that's in the zoo where this massacre happened, and he placed all the money on it in a pile in the shape of his bat symbol. And we get the full page of him standing kind of triumphant. Well, he's not even triumphantly, he's kind of hunched over, but it's very like the bat signal's in the sky above the city, and so honestly, what's the weirdest thing about this is that when the money starts burning, which is a really cool visual because you see the symbol and the signal start to like fade away as the money's like on fire, it really made me think of this town deserves a better class of criminal from The Dark Knight, because this is what the Joker did. He burned all the money from the criminals. I kind of liked it in a weird way. Batman's doing the same thing here to say, hey, you can't buy it. Because we talked about how at the end of that issue, there's legitimate reasons why Batman might cave and take the deal in this version of the world, because he still has a mum to lose. And his mum's been kind of, because she's this public figure, she's speaking out against crime, she's kind of at risk. She's got a bit of a target on her in a way that maybe other people don't. But no, he stands up here and says, I don't need money, I don't need computers or planes or cars, all I need is Batman. And I think what I like about that, as far as like just talking about the idea of Batman as a whole, is that I truly believe that regular universe Batman would say the exact same thing. Yes, he has all those things. Yes, he makes use of them. It's handy, but whenever his money's stripped away from him, he always puts on the suit. He always goes and bees Batman. That's all he really needs.
Right, it's his mindset. It's his symbol, right? And then that's what I liked about the Nolan trilogy, is that's the crux of it, is you have to become more, right? And when you turn it into the symbol here, right, it's in the sky, even if it's just briefly, right? But that's all he needs, is that reminder. And it's the memorial light, right, for his dad, and the whole reason he does this. So that was a nice little piece.
Yeah, it's like, even as a kid, he had this idea of a light to like give everyone an idea of the good people who were lost there. Like, the good thing, his dad was one of the good parts of Gotham, so he wants a light to represent and remind everyone there's something good here. The idea that he turns that into a big bat signal as he's building the reputation and the myth of Batman for Gotham, because this is early days for this Batman, so he's kind of like, the city's starting to learn, and sort of that theatricality is starting to maybe build up and like build the mythos.
Well, and it's literally that whole stupid argument that we always get of like, what Batman has all that money, but Bruce Wayne doesn't do anything positive with it, and right, so he literally just set it on fire, right? Like because the heat of the light and whatnot.
Yeah. Also, I'm pretty sure Bruce Wayne in the regular universe is constantly funding charity programs and all sorts of shit.
I hate that every time it comes up. It's just a lazy argument. Like, look, we can talk hate on Batman. I will gladly do that. However, come with a better argument. All right, like that one is just like, ugh, you have nothing good to say.
Yeah, so, I mean, they don't focus on it too much, but it's always like he references it constantly that he's at a charity thing because he's he's funded this thing or he's done that. He's built an orphanage there. He's constantly doing shit.
Yep. But I love that here that he uses that money to make a symbol of Batman, right? And it's that big chunky, the axe thing that's on his chest, right? And yeah, it looks really cool in the bat as the bat signal.
Yeah. I mean, it's that big ugly bat symbol that he's got, but it's the absolute bat symbol, so it's fine.
Yeah.
So they all attack him, of course, and the one party animal member that had his hand cut off by Batman comes up for revenge and tackles him, and Batman just sticks all those spikes that he's got and he's like cape out, and so this guy just gets impaled to the point where he's stuck on Batman's back as Batman's still fighting other people. Which was very funny to me. I had a good kick out of that. I
had to reread that panel, right? Because he says, I'm stuck. And I thought that was Batman saying, get him off of me, right? But no, it's get me off of him. Again, Snyder has a way to be darkly funny.
Yeah, so. No, I had a chuckle out of that. Like, Black Mask snipers start firing, but of course Alfred takes a few of them out as well. But they hit him with some nets. Batman is pinned down. He does grab Roman for a second, which is important because later he reveals it was a tracker that he's put on him. But yeah, he kind of loses this fight. Like they pin him down in this really like sort of tough net that's like cutting into him. And this is when we see the bat signal burning, or the symbol in the signal burning away because it's on fire. And the big thing here is he kicks Batman off the building, and Batman's like cape turns into like a parachute, but it's so badly like damaged at this point that it barely works. Is Sionis like broadcast to the city afterwards that he's basically saying, hey, everyone, like, I used to kill pigs on a farm with the bolt gun thing, and it was what it was, but every so often a pig would die in a state of euphoria, like they would have a moment of happiness as they were being killed. And he basically explains that it's because, sometimes he would hit the part of the brain that deals with pleasure, and it would just flood the pig with pleasure before they die, but it only happened in the pigs that didn't, like, struggle, didn't like, tense up, that accepted what was happening. And he basically says, hey, all the corrupt leaders of this country are letting it burn. This city's, like, a shithole. Let's just enjoy it as it's dying. And he basically just puts out like a bunch of weapons and money and stuff. It's basically encouraging more citizens to kind of join his gang and say, hey, come be with us and enjoy the Wild West that the city's becoming while it dies. Like, let's enjoy the moment of death kind of thing. Of course, the other big thing that happens is that as Batman sort of is getting away, Barbara Gordon, to remind everyone who's a police officer in this universe, runs him over with her car, not intentionally necessarily. He kind of just lands in front of her, and she gets out, pulls out her gun, and his cowl's even fallen off at this point, but he's got his head turned away as he's like sort of like crawling into like a manhole. He's clearly very hurt, like and this is something the lettering's done where the speech bubbles are very craggy around his words. But she's like, hey, stop or I will shoot. And he just says, then do it. Go on. Like, he's just defeated right now. And she chooses not to. She calls in and says she's not seen anything. So that first sign that maybe his, like, Batman-Gordon relationship is going to actually be with Barbara in this universe is interesting. Like, it's a bit of a change from normal.
Well, and that makes sense considering that Gordon has more of a relationship with Commissioner Gordon, who's now Mayor Gordon, right?
Yeah.
It has a more relationship with his mom, right? So just keeping it generational as well, checks out. So, I can't get over in the next pages though how Alfred looks, because he looks damn near like Ra's al Ghul in some of these.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, he's kind of had that look to him ever since it started because of the mustache and whatnot.
No, yeah, but just this one here, which is right above the, bats are highly infectious. I was like, oh my God, that's Ross. I was like, wait, no, that's Alfred, right? And it was just like, some of these decisions that are coming, you can't by accident, right? So we're playing with the Batman mythos evermore here.
Yeah, Alfred basically says he's never going to help Bruce again because he wanted this deal to go through. He thought this deal was the right thing.
Yeah.
He even stuck around when his employer said it's time to leave to help him. And he's like, look, I'm never helping you again. You balls this up. You could have had this. You could have used that money to be even better and bigger and a better version of what you're trying to be. And Bruce is sitting there with like so many little like bandages and stitches all over him. He's like truly just been beat up and destroyed. So the cliffhanger though is that some of these civilians who have like picked up these random crates of masks and weapons are near where Gordon and Martha are. And Gordon apparently he at least thinks he's about to lose the election. He thinks that his election's done for. So now I thought this was another great issue of this. I think you get the big sort of glory moment of Batman being defiant and saying, I don't need your money, I'm going to burn it because it means nothing to me, I'm the goddamn Batman, effectively, with that full page spread. But then he gets beat down and beaten. It's very reminiscent to me of RoboCop. Like, do you know when RoboCop gets beat up by Ed 209 and then the whole cop force shows up to shoot him and it's just Murphy who shows up to help him get away? That's what Barbara showing up and letting him leave kind of reminded me of, is Batman being beat and bruised and like barely able to stand and just kind of getting away, and like her deciding that he's not the bad guy here, even if he's technically working outside the law. And I'm curious to see how that relationship evolves from here.
Because his cowl gets left behind, right?
Yes.
So I'm wondering if that's a little bit of that we also get here when Alfred's talking to him. This is bats are highly infectious. So I wonder if she's going to be the first person to come to the bat cause, right? You're gonna have all these other party animals running around, but you're going to have Babs.
I don't know if she's going to physically, because I'm kind of at this point, I think it's more likely she'll be the Jim Gordon of of this, in terms of like she'll be the cop who's like actually helping him and whatnot. But if she does end up putting on a bat suit and calling herself Batgirl or Batwoman, I would wonder if like she literally picks up this cowl and like fixes it and fits it to her own head and like actually uses this cowl that he's left behind to start her outfit, or maybe just wears it once in a sort of defiant sort of thing.
That's what I'm thinking. Like, as the idea of Batman spreads, right? The bat highly infectious. Because I feel like it's also Alfred, where Alfred can talk about all this. Like, I'm not going to help you, but he's invested now.
Oh, he's going involved. To. Ain't no way Alfred's not coming back to help him at some point.
Because there's that thing where he says, I was a field medic. I could help you, but I'm not going to because you don't listen. So there was that there too, where I'm like, oh, okay, he's playing the tough card here. He'll be back.
Yeah. So just like Bruce wasn't done with bats after the rabies shot back in the flashback. I don't think Barbara or Alfred are done with the idea of Batman after this issue, which is cool. I always love seeing how the mythos spreads throughout the city and like people become inspired and want to be a part of it, and especially since I think, in contrast to what a lot of villains in early Batman stories usually do, the villain in this case is literally trying to inspire the opposite by actually appealing to hey, everyone, let's just become gang members because this world's screwed up. So just give in to the chaos and be bad. The idea that Batman's going to be the counterforce to that and trying to, no, don't give in to that. Fight for what this city can be, for the good parts of this city, I think is a good, two sides of that ideological battle. So
because there's the whole Black Mask argument is if you can't beat him, join him, right? So you're gonna die anyways. Why not have some fun while you're at it? Also, I do like the look of the last three. It kind of is reminiscent of the Terrible Trio, which is another Batman. People that wear masks and whatnot.
I wouldn't be surprised if this is meant to be this universe's version of those three characters.
Yeah. I mean, they're a little bit different, right? Because that's usually what the Vulture, the Fox, and the what's the last one? The Shark.
I get why you think of it though. If anything, the mask
Yeah.
made me think of the movie You're Next. That's what I was flashing to.
Well, so I've had reoccurring bad dreams about a stag skull like this. So that one was a little bit scary, you know. So that gave me cause. But yeah, there's the bird looking one right next to him. I was like, oh my god, they're like the terrible trio. This is kind of cool. But to circle back a little bit on the whole idea of Batman, I do like that this kind of continues Snyder's take on Batman, because that's what he's always been interested in, right? From the time that he did the first story with Dick as Batman, right? As what does it mean to be Batman? And then throughout the New 52 run and whatever, he is always preoccupied with the whole idea and the spread of what Batman means to the city and to the world as a whole. So I'm glad that it's continuing here in the Absolute Universe.
Yeah, and then Dragotta's art, of course, is extremely solid and adds a lot to it. I think there's a lot of panels, particularly like Black Mask, when there's a panel where he's like pointing at Batman that really stuck out to me as just being really kind of cool and imposing. Don't get me wrong, he's obviously very skinny and kind of like a scrawny, like slimy villain, as opposed to like a big tough imposing one, but it kind of works.
He's the physical opposite of Bruce, right? Because Bruce is this big, intimidating, hulking figure, and Black Mask is not. He's that slender, big bulbous head, kind of alien-esque, like a gray alien. But yeah, very creepy. Also, Dragotta's art here as Batman's getting beat down too. The small panels and stuff. It's very visceral, despite you don't really see anything, right?
Yeah.
So very, very good on him for that one.
Yeah, no, I really liked that fight scene. It was really good. So, all right, what are you giving Absolute Batman?
I'm giving this one 8.5.
Yeah, I think I agree with that. I'm almost tempted to bump it up, but I think I'll stay at the 8.5.